Hey guys, this is Ori from What Culture Comics, and I'm here to talk to you not about Batman, but his Marvel equivalent, Iron Man. They're both rich, both very intelligent, and both don't have any superpowers. The one difference between the two that we notice is that DC have explored how Batman would defeat all of his allies, but Marvel hasn't delved deeply into how Iron Man would do so. And that's what we're here for at What Culture Comics, as we look into how Iron Man would defeat each member of the Avengers. Number 7, the Wasp. Starting from the comic side of things, we have the first half of the AntMan and Wasp team, Janet Van Dyne. Now you could argue that taking out the two of them wouldn't have many variations in terms of strategy, since they both use the same powers, but Janet has the advantage over her counterpart since she can fly and has long-ranged energy stingers. Seeing as how either the Wasp or Ant-Man can just shrink down and fly into Iron Man's armor through the cracks and mess with the wiring, as seen with Ant-Man in Captain America Civil War, taking her and Hank out first and quickly would be essential. Their powers may not have much effectiveness against other members of the Avengers, but they can mess with Iron Man in ways that he can't allow in this scenario, so swiftness is essential. So assuming, like with every entry on this list, that this is a straight one-on-one fight that Tony wants to end as quickly as possible, his best bet would be to have Jarvis hack into the shrink tech in Wasp's suit, lock into shrink mode, and then short it out. Not much else to do after that except let nature take its course as Janet is shrunk into non-existence. Existentially horrifying, yes, but definitely efficient. Number 6, Ant-Man. Not all of these are going to be the most complex solutions in the world. Some superheroes are just flat out easier to take out with Iron Man's skill set than others, especially when, barring some advanced tech, they're just your average squishy human. Since this is going by the version of Ant-Man that founded the Avengers in the comics, this means Tony is dealing with Hank Pym, who is a very different Ant-Man to go up against than the more well-known Scott Lang. While he is leagues smarter than his inheritor, he's also far less adaptable, stuck in his ways, and generally kind of a massive stick-in-the-mud jerk. As such, taking him out won't require nearly as much out-of-the-box thinking as with Wasp. Being a smart cookie, Hank's first instinct when fighting Iron Man seriously will be to, of course, shrink down and try to get into his armor to end the fight quickly. But since Tony is smarter and knows Pym's tech inside out, he'd booby trap his armor for Pym, stunning him long enough for Tony to shake him out of his armor. After that, it's as simple as just not watching where he steps. Number 5, Hawkeye. Before we go into this one, it's well known that Hawkeye is probably one of the least favorite Avengers in the MCU. But just think about this, he's actually a lucky totem. In the first Avengers, they won. In Age of Ultron, they won. In Infinity War, without him, they lost. And in Endgame, with him, they won. You can break that theory in the comments below if you want, but I just don't see how you could. Hawkeye is one of the most skilled marksmen in all of comics, Marvel or otherwise. Clint can outshoot anyone and do it cleaner and more stylish than his opponents could hope to even come halfway close to. Dude is not someone you want to mess with overall. But in a no-holds-bar fight with an Iron Man who means business, yeah, I give it about 5 seconds. While not the most creative solution on the planet, I can see no quicker way to dispatch Hawkeye than just shooting him in the head. I'm sorry. I mean, his skills are what puts him and keeps him on the team. But by the man's own admission in Matt Fraction's legendary run on the book, he is just a guy with a bow and arrow. However, there is a lot of luck and deep mastery of the weapon he wields, neither of which mean much realistically speaking when up against the most advanced suit of armor in the Marvel Universe, looking to take you out quickly and efficiently. Sorry, Clint. Number 4, Black Widow. Now, Black Widow is a much trickier sort to take out than Clint since, while just as squishy and normal human as he is, Nat is far better trained as an assassin, so just leaving it at shoot her in the dumb face is the kind of underestimation that she'd use to swiftly turn things in her favor. Now, if you want to take out Black Widow, then you need to run her ragged until she's completely out of options. Romanov is the kind of hero whom you either come at as hard and as fast as you can, or you just flat out don't bother. So assuming Iron Man wants her dead, the best option is to throw as many distractions her way as he can. Since Russian assassin training isn't the kind of thing you just shake off, Natasha more than likely has thought about various ways to kill Tony should she need to. So Iron Man would have to eliminate all her options while also giving her too many threats to deal with at once. She's highly trained, but she's still only human. Tony would keep her guessing, keep her running, and when she gets sloppy for just that brief moment, take the shot. Not as airtight a plan as previously, but that's just how it goes when you step into the Widow's web. Number 3, Thor. Now we get into the juicy ones. This and the next entry are definitely the trickiest of them all, since they've both proven to be, in their own different ways, rather unkillable. So how would Tony Stark murder a god? I mean, it isn't like it can't be done, as our good buddy Gore the God Butcher showcased, but even he failed when trying to kill the God of Thunder. Thor has died in the past, but how would Iron Man manage it? Well, the best first step would be to separate Thor from his signature weapon, Mjolnir, locking it in a cage that it can't break out of, even when Thor calls for it. After that comes the lightning powers. Fortunately, a few tweaks to the basic design of your average Iron Man suit, and he's got a walking Faraday cage. Throw a bunch of lightning rods to divert the more powerful blasts away from him, and just like that, the laws of physics become Thor's worst enemy. But you're probably thinking, well, that's swell, but how do you actually defeat him after that? He's still got the strength, the stamina, and prowess of a god. For that, I got nothing clever beyond just beat on him until he stops moving. With some powers, the only way to do it is just to freaking do it. And if you got any better suggestions, comment below. Number 2, the Hulk. And with that, we've come to by far the hardest entry to figure out of them all. Why? Well, there's a few reasons, but how about we start with the fact that the Hulk literally cannot die. Bruce actually tried to see if he could die and had Hawkeye shoot him in the head. The Hulk just woke up later that night. I mean, the Hulk has telekinetically been flayed alive, chopped into pieces and put into jars, blasted point blank by Black Bolt. Hulk truly is the strongest one there is, because when he gets going, there is no stopping him. So with that being said, the only solution is to try not to even engage. Iron Man tried shooting Hulk into space and being done with it, but since that ended less than ideally for him, as such, the best solution I can think of for taking out someone who is impossible to kill is to just knock Bruce out, lock him in a metal box, and drop that box to the bottom of Mariana's Trench. And then let Aquaman fight him. No, but seriously, Tony in this scenario will have learned from his mistake with Planet Hulk, so he would keep him sedated as Bruce, in a cage that would keep him in an artificially induced coma at the bottom of the deepest trench on the planet. If anyone could make something that could survive that kind of pressure and keep a person alive at the same time, it would be Tony Stark. And when dealing with the Hulk, it's really the only option available. And number 1, Captain America. Being polar opposites in almost every way, Cap and Tony have often come to blows, with one coming out the victor often by only the skin of their teeth. But assuming Iron Man actually thought through a fight with Cap for once and really put some thought into how he would actually take him out for good should he need to, what would he come up with? There are a lot of ways this could go down, not the least of which being the good old shoot him in the head gambit. Except Steve has already been shot in the head before, so he'll definitely be expecting that. And there's always that pesky shield to worry about. Plus, with Steve's training and super soldier enhancements, a lot of the conventional solutions, while technically effective, just aren't surefire enough to fall back on. Except, hold on, we're overlooking something, aren't we? Oh yeah, the serum. Steve is the greatest soldier who ever lived, serum or otherwise. But the Captain America books have, in the last decade, established that the serum is what's keeping him in prime condition almost 80 years later. Hell, in the comics, Sam became Captain America because someone took the serum out of Cap and time caught up with him. And there you have the solution. All Tony would have to do is restrain Steve for a few short seconds while he gets a syringe in him and pulls out the super soldier serum, turning him into an old man all over again. After that, taking him out is as simple as punching him really hard with his armored fist, assuming the rapid aging close to 100 years doesn't make him just keel over right then and there. And these are the ways Iron Man would defeat each member of the Avengers. If you can think of more, put them in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to What Culture Comics. I've been Ori, you guys have been great. I'll catch you next time.